Elephant is going to do Sorrow Bash. He is going to use bashes.
A minute away from the speed, everything goes, wow! Oh my god! Is that faster?
Is that faster? Big jerk sometimes. He doesn't want to play nice. Oh my good lord!
Whoa! What a save!
Oh!
Oh my god! Nice!
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the semifinals of the Ori and the Blind Forest All Skills Tournament for 2019. Today we have two games of a best of three of UncleRonny versus hitachihex. Both of these runners are excellent runners, and we should be in for a treat. My name is Jay Halcyon. I'm joined by Rainbow Poogle. Poogle, how you doing today?
I keep saying I'm super excited for all of these matches, but I'm really, really excited for this one. Hitachi being the number 13th seed and Ronny being the number 1st may seem a little misleading. However, both of these runners are extremely close in PB. These numbers do not let them fool you. Neither of these runners have that PB anymore. Hitachi has a 27. He got that about a week and a half ago.
Yeah, Hitachi has been around for a long time in the Ori community and has a bit of a reputation for just not submitting anything to the leaderboards. So this is the most recent PB that he has on the leaderboards, but he's told us, and we've seen him get faster than this even in the tournament. So we can very much expect a very fast race out of both of these players.
They are both doing the same input method of keyboard and mouse, and they will both be taking the same health cells and the same route in Sorrow with Crazy Juggle, which means that they will be skipping a cell, which is the thing they would need for the other route, the Terrorbreak method, that most saner runners tend to do. However, because these runners are both so incredibly good, they need to pull out all of the stops if they're going to try and beat each other.
Yeah, and again, with both of them having 27s, being two of the three runners in the world to have pulled that off thus far, they're both essentially counting on each other making mistakes. If neither of them make mistakes, we should see one heck of a race that'll come down to just a few seconds. If one of them makes a big mistake and the other just doesn't, then the one who doesn't make the mistakes is going to win.
It's going to certainly be a time, and I am very, very curious as to how this is going to go.
Either way, I think Ronny looks like he's thinking about playing on hard. No, he does switch to normal.
And we're
That's
off!
good. That that might place havoc with his choice to run with 3 health cells.
I do remember one match, I believe it was last tournament, that one of the runners, I don't remember whom, had accidentally started on 1 life.
Oh, that would be tragic.
I believe it was during it was one of the tournaments, and it was 1 life, and it was very silly, which we quickly had to restart. It was only about 2 minutes in with falling into poison water. Our runners are off. It's really not much to talk about at first. You get the energy cell, you hip-hop along, you don't get hit by the rhino, and you get to our first skill, air quote, sign. You can't really complete the game without sign. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. And by can, it's extremely stretching it.
I can think of a few runners in the community who would disagree with you about not being able to finish without sign, but this is the all skills category, so we get sign.
You can get it. You can. It's extremely difficult, and the runners who do are extremely talented. You just really shouldn't do it.
It would definitely be slower in this category.
You wouldn't be able to complete the category either, because as you have stated, and as the tournament is clearly all skills. And we will be getting all of the skills that you see on that little wheel below each of the runners as they jump up, get their experience, and continue on into Glades, as well as the first and second place markers, which will determine and show which runner is ahead, which runner is behind, and they might switch back and forth a lot this race.
Yeah, and one thing to note, of course, it looks like UncleRonny has about a second, maybe a second and a half advantage right now, but that's really not significant in the scheme of things. In this game, in the speed run, large mistakes are the norm, especially into the late game. And so once we get into that realm of play, those couple of seconds will probably not be the determining factor in who wins this race.
Both runners getting through the magical elbow that has a bunch of slimes that if we're to hit either of the runners, they would die. Because neither runner takes that fourth health cell that a lot of runners tend to take just at the start. And so it's a little spooky at first.
Yeah, but can you really blame them? I mean, it is about 4 seconds faster to not take it.
Oh no,
let's go.
Hitachi.
Hitachi.
Value safety save right there, but looks like he just didn't get the shots off in time? Regardless, very, very intelligent save. Didn't end up losing nearly as much time as he could have.
Yeah, it looks like he was trying to pick off just the bottom two of those brambles instead of taking the extra moment to clear the middle one, because you can run under that one. But decided to place a safety save there, just in case he accidentally ran into them, which he did, and so that save paid off quite a bit.
That did widen the gap to about 6 seconds. Thank you to our wonderful truck. As UncleRonny has managed his XP properly, gotten that level up on the way back up, as does Hitachi, and they will both be heading towards Blackroot Burrows. Now, our runners are going to continue to manage their XP pretty tightly, as we're going to need it for a trick slightly later, leaving the next area, but with runners of this caliber, they know exactly what they're doing. They have almost the fact of you can't even see the UI, which text doesn't show up, but also they keep track of their health, their energy, their experience, all in their heads without really having to be up there.
Yeah, and Ronnie here on the left, coming up on this first of a great many save anywhere tricks in this run. Just going to store the menu, use that to place a save inside this cutscene, and use that to get into Blackroot Burrows a little bit faster. Taking Quick Flame rather than the more commonly chosen Spirit Magnet here. hitachihex on the right, making that same choice. So both of them going for the absolutely extremely fastest strats available here.
Quick Flame being a little bit nicer for controller players sometimes because it gives you a bit of a more comfortable shot cadence. However, neither of these runners are on controller and are taking it solely for the fact it can be faster in certain areas. It's just also makes the game slightly scarier.
Yeah, notably, without Magnet, they're both going to have to be much more precise with the upcoming Frankie Walk trick that we'll be seeing in about 2 minutes. But until then, Ronnie making his way... Ooh, barely dodging that projectile. Making his way up here. He's going to bounce through these laser areas. Wow.
Gets the cycle he
getting
wants.
the fast cycle. That I believe that'll save him 8 seconds over what hitachihex is doing here. As Hitachi had a little bit of missed movement earlier on.
That he will, and it's not going to be... It looks like he missed half a cycle rather than a full one, so it's not going to be as bad. However, that just widens the gap ever so slightly. That's also why Ronnie places a safety save down at the bottom of those lasers on the off chance he slightly mistimes it. He doesn't go all the way back, he just hits the bottom of the lasers and he just gets to retry it.
Yeah, and that's definitely a good choice to make. Our runners have the energy in Blackroot to make one safety save somewhere, and using it there when you know that you're just going to go all out and jump through the lasers, trusting that you caught the right cycle, is a great choice.
We're gonna have our second save anywhere trick right here. Looks like Ronnie is going for the cutscene stack. Al, you want to explain this one?
Yeah, sure. So Ronnie's doing something a little bit weird here. He's saved and he's able to move during this first cutscene where the darkness lifts. And he's going to do this to show us crushing that orb. And then he's going to stand on the trigger for a follow-up cutscene. And this is going to let him move during this tree animation. So he's going to do some blind movement off to the left, jumping over that big pit in the middle of Blackroot that you'll see as the camera pans over. And he gets it just fine. Hitachi about to do the same thing. If either of them falls down into that pit, it is absolutely catastrophic. But both of them made it, no problems whatsoever. So Ronnie's doing something weird, Poogle. What's going on here?
Well, this lovely Frankie, known as affectionately, I suppose, as Billy, is being led on a magical walk because we need Billy. Well, we don't really need Billy. We need Billy's experience. There's a 4 energy door here. We only have 2 energy. Whenever you level up, though, you get more energy. So Ronnie's going to get the level up, put 2 energy in the door. Once he has 2 more energy, put those in the door as well, and get through the poison water, which, of course, poison water is dangerous, even to frogs. It's rather odd, as Hitachi will follow him immediately afterwards, both of them getting this trick. Ronnie probably breathing a sigh of relief, as he had said prior that he wasn't as confident as he wanted to be with it.
Yeah, definitely. And now on the left here, Ronnie's going to be going for an early cycle on these grotto crushers. He's going to make a jump in there, and he gets it. Very nice. That will save him 8 seconds over not getting those. On the right, Hitachi looking to match that performance. Dashing 3 times, running up the wall, and gets it as well.
That is a fantastic, less of a time save and more of a not a time loss for both runners. As Ronnie will do his second bit of blind movement coming out of the double jump tree. Because one of the best things about this blind movement is that slime that they had to jump over on the way in, that Hitachi just jumped over, does not spawn if it's not on screen.
Yeah, and Ronnie doing excellently with that blind movement, getting almost all the way over even to the left wall in that wall climb. Hitachi doing his blind movement right now as well. Where does he end up? Oh, it looks like he missed the jump up onto the wall, so that's going to cost him a few seconds.
On the left-hand side, Ronnie's going to go for a grotto skip. Gets it first try. Very easily done. Gets the baguette jump as well for a little bit of style points. Technically, it's maybe a frame or 2 fast, but it looks really cool.
Yeah, and Hitachi on the right going to follow up and do that same very precise jump that saves us running around the left side of Grotto, which is on the order of about half a minute to do. So very nice to be able to pull that off in a speed run where you want to go fast.
Oh no, Ronnie had to reload, accidentally missing the rekindle skip, which is you put a save down, you walk into a cutscene trigger, as Hitachi's doing, you rekindle your save, and so long as you've hit the cutscene trigger and saved, it acts like you've seen the cutscene, which is often what we do with essays, what we do with rekindles. It just depends on how far you need to be away from your save and into the cutscene.
Yeah, now both runners climbing up these walls. Don't be don't be confused. This is probably the most technically difficult section of this run. These walls are very finicky in the way that Ori will stick to or not stick to them. So both of them handling those very well. Ronnie on the left going for an early cycle on these spinners with spikes. He just barely misses it.
No, I believe you got it. Or did it?
No, yeah, he had to wait there for the second one.
Darn.
Hitachi on the right going to be going for the same thing.
He gets
and
it.
Hitachi does get it.
Who does get hit by the spinner, so Hitachi will be only on a single health. He's gonna have to kill this slime instead of damage boosting through it. So he got the early cycle, but he didn't get hit, so it's a bit of a wash.
Yeah, pretty close to even there. And both of our runners getting into the Ginso tree around 11.5 minutes. This is an extremely fast pace.
So will we see the telehops, or will we see going for a cycle? We're just gonna see going through this gamer room. They are called gamers because, well, they look like gamers. Ronnie going for the lower routes. Gonna damage boost off these spikes and continue on.
And thanks to, again, to our truck, our runners are currently 13 seconds apart at the entrance of the Ginso tree. Hitachi matching Ronnie's quick movement through there, getting that perfect cycle on those gamer enemies. And so now as Ronnie waits for this puzzle to go, it's a bit of an auto-scroller. Hitachi is going to catch up and meet him in the same room.
Now, Hitachi did the same thing as Ronnie. They both took a death to reset the shot cycle in this room a little bit fast. And this is where one of the main reasons why Quick Flame is faster comes into play. This mini-boss. This mini-boss is, like, one of the few minuscule parts of RNG that's in the run. It's really the only issue with it. It makes the shots a little faster. Apparently we're getting word that that was not a 3-cycle, which is what you aim for with the spawns of this mini-boss.
Yeah, unfortunately, Ronnie, it looks like missed one single shot that made him have to go to a 4th cycle. Hitachi there also very close to the 3-cycle, but not quite getting it. And Ronnie is at the bash tree. Bash is one of those skills that sort of iconic in this game. Lets us fling ourselves off of enemies, projectiles, lanterns, and we're going to see Ronnie use it in a lot of ways in this run to go fast.
Hitachi getting up to the bash tree himself. I have not seen this shot setup before. Oh no!
Oh, that's a bit of a unfortunate time loss there. Accidentally putting the shot into Ori, giving Hitachi a little bit of time to catch up.
There was a 21 seconds or so of a difference between the runners at the bash tree that probably has gone down a bit due to the slightly messier... Oh, Hitachi? Did Hitachi make the save down to the bottom?
Yeah, he dropped a save on the lower platform. Hitachi likes to do the double bash up. Oh
no!
Oh no, he missed the key dupe. So he's going to have to go through this room a 3rd time. We typically travel through it 2 times.
Well.
So
the taking that shot, bashing one direction, not letting go and bashing the other direction is a double bash, and he missed the first double bash. That on top of the missed key dupe probably rattled him.
Yeah, it's definitely time he can't afford to give up in any race against UncleRonny, but especially when already down.
He does get it the 2nd time. He's going to get through this door, do another little rekindle trick, and go zooming through it. As Ronnie comes up to one of, I suppose, the second major, not tipping point, but point of somewhat stress. And that's breaking into Swamp the wrong way.
Yeah, of course, it turns out it is slower to clean the water the way that the game wants you to do. So we don't do that. Instead, we take this frog and we put him up on this little bed of spikes and use him to shoot through these floors and ceilings in order to get into the swamp area earlier than we should be able to get through those particular barriers.
Which is why we need those keystones. Because we don't, as you said, we don't have clean water. And where's the keys that you're supposed to get for that door? In the water.
Yeah, Ronnie doing a little bit of a damage boost there to get up quickly to the stomp tree. Hitachi going for his swamp entry. Ooh, takes a bit of a bite of the spikes there. He's on 1 health. He has to be very, very careful with this.
Hitachi will not be able to go for the same damage boost that Ronnie did going into the tree. Would not surprise me if he decided to just take that shot all the way up instead.
Yeah, definitely a choice to keep in mind there. So as Hitachi moves his way into that stomp tree, Ronnie's going to be using this frog again a second time to make his way up to this ability cell. We need several of these, both to get abilities that are important for going fast, as well as to skip cutscenes. So, and now Ronnie coming up on his Kuro cutscene skip. If he does this right, we won't see anything. Beautiful.
Speaking of skipping cutscenes, now it looks like it's about a 41 second delta leaving the stomp tree. This is where movement starts to heat up a bit.
Now Ronnie told us he... Okay. It looked for a moment there like Ronnie was considering going for a different style of way of skipping that particular cutscene in that spiders area. But he did go for the more traditional way rather than the way that I think about a small handful of players plus the task do. On the right, Hitachi also nailing his Kuro cutscene skip, so not losing any time there, though he does still have a fair bit of ground to make up.
Now, look, alright, Hitachi... Oh no!
Oh, that's painful death.
Hitachi barely missing that shot from the spider on the replay, accidentally hitting that shot into the bottom of the wall. Now those spikes that he hit into, they don't really have a damage number. They just kill you. It doesn't matter. Whatever health you're at, you will die. It also appears that Ronnie was 9 seconds behind his PB at Charge Flame, which is the tree that we just picked up. Now, you gotta remember, both of these runners have a 27. That is still incredible pace.
Yeah, of course, Hitachi's quite a ways behind here, but a single mistake from Ronnie could put him back into this game, depending on where Ronnie decides to take safety saves. We like to use all of our energy in this late part of the game just for going fast, and so any single death could make this a race once again.
That trick that Ronnie just did, called Fast Stompless, which is literally, you're supposed to stomp those rocks. But we don't. We use a shot instead. And if you're fast enough, you get that cell at the top of that other shaft, so that when you have the shot hit the rocks, get the cell, everything goes okay. And
Yep, Ronnie.
at this... Oh, go ahead.
Ronnie now picking up that charge dash ability. Essentially all of our best speed tech is now online in this game. Ronnie's going to use that to quickly manipulate a bird into that spike shaft and use it to break into Sorrow Pass without releasing the wind first. He's then going to use it again to get this frog to open that up, and then he's going to go for Crazy Juggle. So he's going to charge dash at this frog, cancel the charge dash with a stomp, and grab the frog with bash, all within just a small handful of frames. And he gets it first try.
As Hitachi doesn't get Fast Stompless. The shot missed.
Oh no, that's heartbreaking.
That's not something that normally happens. And oh no.
Okay, good, the second one at least got it.
That's... Unless Ronnie makes a huge mistake, that is going to be a time loss to be very hard to come back from.
Yeah, of course, Hitachi may have an inkling that he's quite a ways behind. UncleRonny does not know that he's ahead. He is not watching the restream or his opponent, and so won't have any idea about the difficulties that hitachihex is suffering.
Oh! That looked almost way too low.
Yeah, that was very close to those spikes, but Hitachi gets into Sorrow Pass and will now be going for his Crazy Juggle. And yeah, as you were noting, Hitachi a minute and a half behind at this point. So UncleRonny has a very commanding lead and will need to make possibly a couple of very large mistakes for Hitachi to get back into this race.
And as skilled as these runners are, there is the potential of that happening.
Yeah,
Now,
both of our runners at 3 HP. Every spike on the walls in Sorrow Pass and in Misty Woods, the next area we'll be in, does at least 3 damage, so will one-shot the players.
As Ronnie leaves again, does get through this time as well, and does zoom down from Sorrow Pass into Misty Woods.
Yeah, now quite a ways off of his PB, but and may now have an idea that he might be behind hitachihex. Wow, a stair cancel there. That's a bold play.
Ronnie has said before that he will, especially in closer races like this, place more safety saves, and as such, instead of having as much energy, will go for stair cancels. And it's terrifying.
Somewhat less terrifying given that he's, got those safety saves to work with. If it weren't for those safety saves, if he were to take a death right now, he would go all the way back to that charge jump tree again and would actually be behind Hitachi.
Ronnie does like to save at the very beginning of Misty, however, so he wouldn't go as far. Because both of these runners know if they make a mistake, they're dead. As you said, all of these spikes do 3 damage. Our runners have 3 health. Well, you can see where that could potentially be a problem.
Yeah, 3 minus 3 oftentimes being 0, and 0 health being a good way to be dead.
Hitachi only on 1 or 2 energy.
So both of our runners navigating through these spike-filled corridors as quickly as possible, maybe quicker than prudent. Picking up Ronnie, grabbing some extra energy, dropping another safety save. So he's definitely thinking of race strategy right now rather than just trying to put in the fastest possible time.
He knows he can't PB. Also, he kills the energy crystal prior to putting that save down, so I was going to be slightly concerned if he were to die. He does not, and he kills that mini-boss with a little bit of an not as intended method, but still that mini-boss goes away.
Oh god, Hitachi.
Ah! Ah!
Hitachi almost falling into those spikes, saving it, and
Keeping all of his energy, though, like, that's impressive.
yeah, very easy to drop energy in that sort of situation, but oh no, and Hitachi dropping an energy there, but he's still got enough to get through the rest of this.
About a minute delta at the climb tree, so Hitachi is pulling in some time. Ronnie's still gonna need to make a pretty big error in order for Hitachi to manage to pull all the way back into this.
Yeah, and for a runner as consistent as UncleRonny, I wouldn't expect to see an error like that, but anything can happen. And UncleRonny already at the grenade tree. This is the last skill he needs to fulfill the requirements of this category. But coming up very soon, we have 3 tricks in quick succession that could cost him a fair chunk of time if he misses them.
It is the final dungeon after all, and the dungeons are supposed to be scary, do all of what they can to fully test your knowledge of the movement, the tech that you are given, and as we save runners like to do, none of it.
Yeah, we'll see both of our runners essentially skipping the entire dungeon by use of a trick known as the door warp. So, Ronnie moving across, into the area we call Horror Fields, picking up his 5th health cell. He'll need this to survive a poison swim because, of course, we don't clean the water. And trying to maintain that 3 energy that we see him having, doing some stair cancels to keep that in play, and a nice grenade jump across the door.
Now Ronnie will be entering Mount Horu as Hitachi picks up his grenade. Now, we didn't really talk about that very silly bit of movement Hitachi just did, where you charge dash off the wall, but you don't really charge dash, you kind of go more faster than the game intends you to do.
Yeah, it's a grenade jump. It's a combination of the skills grenade, climb, and charge jump. And by throwing a grenade and then in the very next frame jumping off the wall, the game forgets how to slow you down from that charge jump. So you keep the very high initial speed. UncleRonny not having any trouble with these late game tricks, nailing his door first try, nailing his warmth skip to be able to move blind during that cutscene into the final escape, and now going for this poison swim. 1, 2, 3 ticks of damage. 4,
He's out.
He's out.
Does not spawn the big bird, and is going to go for the really only super major important grenade jump of this run. Gets it at first try. Hitachi also nailing his grenade jumps, as Hitachi was the person to figure out that grenade jumps existed.
Yeah, that grenade jump that we can see in the lovely replay, thanks to our restreamer, will actually let him skip the first half of this ending cutscene and cutting about 45 seconds off the run. But UncleRonny, GG, only needing to hold right on his keyboard to finish the game at this point by walking to the right with Naru. Hitachi going for door warp to get down to that final escape, gets it very nicely, and will be going for his own warmth skip here.
The reason why door warp is so important is that otherwise we'd have to do the entirety of the horror dungeon. But that's not fast. And by not fast, I mean that takes a decent amount of time to actually get done. So we just skip it, because the door will do that.
Yeah, Mount Horu, oh no, Hitachi taking some damage in there, unfortunately has to take a death and restart, but because he did this warmth skip, that is going to leave the escape in a very weird situation.
Well, he got through the boulder, which is where the odd situation normally occurs. Does manage to get the shot off of the elemental this time, bashes his way through, has that 5 important health that he needs in order to get into the swim. 1 damage, 2 damage, 3 damage, 4 damage, and he is through. Also does not spawn the bird. If you don't jump over the small trigger that is there, the giant bird will come and try to kill you.
Yeah, and that can be a bit of a buzzkill when you're trying to set up this grenade jump at the end. But Hitachi gets that grenade jump just fine, is into the final cutscene. GG to him as well. Ronnie will go up 1-0 in this best of 3 match.
All Hitachi has to do now is, as you said, hold right. Just walk with Naru, this wonderful character that we just don't really ever get to know about. And we'll be done as well. UncleRonny coming in with a 28.47, and Hitachi coming in with a 30.46. So, at the end of the day, about a 2-minute deficit, 2-minute delta, what have you. It could have gone either way. It could still go either way. Ronnie's up 1-0. Hitachi has to pull this back with a second game in order to get to game 3. It could happen.
It very much could happen. As we saw, these deaths can add minutes onto this run, and so very easy to lose the kind of time that separates these 2 runners. Looks like we'll be having about a 5-minute break until the second game to let our runners get set up, and get all of our graphics and everything reset. So stay tuned, and we will be back soon.
Welcome back, Speed Gaming fans, to the second game of this best of three in the Ori and the Blind Forest All Skills Tournament of 2019 versus UncleRonny versus hitachihex. UncleRonny taking game one by not a significant margin, but by a margin of a couple of tricks that unfortunately went south, not in Hitachi's favor. But with game two, considering how close these runners are, it could have gone the either way, and we're going to see how this goes. I am once again Rainbow Poogle, and I am again joined by Jay Halcyon. You excited?
I am. I of course love to watch runners of this caliber play this game, so I'm pulling for Hitachi Hex in this game too. I would really love to see a game 3 out of these two runners.
Considering that both of their PBs are 6 seconds away from each other, anything could happen. Looks like we're just about ready to get started.
Yeah,
Our
6
runners-
seconds can be lost just in a couple of movement mistakes.
All right, good. So neither runner accidentally soft locked. Doing that prologue skip because the prologue is long. And,
It is. It's wonderful and has beautiful music and a cheery, happy story and then a sad story. But it takes about 10 minutes to play through, and the developers were kind enough to give us an option to skip it. So we do.
We are going to go back through this lovely part of Glades, jump over this rhino, get to sign, and we'll see where this goes. What are you hoping to see out of the second game?
Well, like I said, I'm pulling for Hitachi just a little bit. I'd like to see, if you've got a nice little pink color out of Hitachi with
All
that,
right.
color code rolled into something good. I'm hoping to see Hitachi maybe calm down a little bit and play the run that we all know he can, and that'll give him the best chance of letting UncleRonny be the one to make mistakes.
Well, I mean, Hitachi got the best color Ori. Ronnie running into that other slime on the ground, gonna have a little bit more experience than he would probably like. I would not be surprised if he knows how just to work around that and keep it in a place that he feels comfortable with it being.
Yeah, with the number of hours that Ronnie has put into this game, I'm sure he knows exactly how to manage both the missing HP from that and the extra XP. And he does just choose to not take a different slime's worth of XP, so he'll be just fine going forward.
Back to the terrifying elbow. This is one of the scariest portions of this early part of the game, because it could just send you back, give you a bit of nerves. Both runners taking the hit from that slime, but it does look like that slime dropped a health drop for them. So, again, bit of a wash. A very good wash for this time.
Yeah, both of our runners at 1 HP, then at 2. After they pick that up, they'll be able to skip that. Oh, no! Oh, Hitachi, all the way back to his Ghost Sword, not placing that safety save that he used last round. Just getting a little bit too friendly with those spiky brambles.
Not taking the damage from that slime this time, but running into those brambles do 2 damage. So he has to go back and do this again.
Yeah, this will cost him several seconds isn't a large enough number, and it's definitely not several minutes, so it'll definitely cost him some time that he can't afford to give up.
Neither runner's watching each other, so hopefully Hitachi isn't being shaken up by what happened last game, what has just happened into this game. and he'll be able to pull it together to bring back out a fantastic race for the second game.
Yeah, by the time he got to the wall jump tree, it looks like he lost about 35 to 40 seconds to that unfortunate death, and he's currently 37 seconds behind UncleRonny. So all we can hope for is that Hitachi's not rattled by that early mistake and is able to play the rest of the game cleanly.
That is the hope. I'm sure that he can pull this through. After all, it is just a small minor mistake on either runner's side that could turn the tides.
Definitely. A 40-second death seems like a lot this early on, but later on in the game, once we get into the valley area again, it's oftentimes several minutes between saves, so it's very easy. It would be very easy for UncleRonny to slip up and give those 40 seconds right back.
Ronnie's gonna hopefully get the right shot cycle that he wants. Jump over that shot. Jump underneath this one. Save at the bottom of these lasers again. Oh, no, he's not. Okay. Didn't like the cycle, so he's just gonna reload instead this time around.
Yeah, doing a save and reload there resets the cycles on the platforms, and we'll let him get that cycle instead of taking the full 8 seconds loss. He'll just have to take the time to reload the game.
Looks like they are still about 37, 38 seconds apart at entering Blackroot. Let's see. Oh, Hitachi getting... Getting the cycle that he wants! And
getting the platform cycle as well, very nicely done. So that'll save him a handful of seconds over Ronnie in this section, which is exactly what he needs to do.
Looks like he only flashed his experience for a second there. I'm not sure if he wanted that slime's experience or not. Once again, Ronnie is going to do that stack, which is both slightly faster and presents its own set of risks to it.
And of course, placing the orb under this crusher is not mandatory to do this, but there's a lot of time that you can burn just waiting for it, so a little bit of style points. Ronnie was quite a bit farther away from his level up than he was last time. Looks like Hitachi didn't want that XP. He was 6 XP from leveling up, so both of them in decent shape for this Frankie Walk.
Well, as we all know, style points are the most important thing, right?
That is very true.
We once again see Billy being taken for a lovely, lovely bit of exercise. Don't worry, Billy, nothing wrong's gonna happen, we promise.
We, of course, love Billy. We love him so much, we bring him over here every time we play this game.
Love Billy, speak for yourself. Billy can be very, very cruel. Wait, Ronnie getting an energy drop there, so could have saved if he wanted to.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he wants to take the time to do that, so he'll just keep playing, doing his normal thing. Ooh, taking a slight hit on that slime. Looks like he had the health to tank it, but and had just placed that safety save. So now going for his Grotto cycle. Hitachi getting his magnetless Frankie Walk on a one hop earlier than Ronnie by going for that lower kill spot.
And
now we're
also getting the energy drop, so he does choose to just take that save right there. Yes, he does get the energy refill as well, but just in case things go awry, he's more than likely going to save right before this bridge. Yes, he does. And he is also going to hit for this Crusher cycle. I'm going to pause for a little bit. Dashing over, gets it, and does not get in. Oh dear.
Yeah, that's 8 seconds that he really can't afford to lose at this point.
And we will see a full high five as, unfortunately, Ronnie gets hit by... the froggy and that... Oh, missed the jump dash over that spiny bramble... What are they called? Spawn things? It doesn't matter. Ronnie jumped over it, got the jump, got the baguette jump, and is now going up the walls as Hitachi gets to double jump to follow. Now, these walls, as I believe, Hal, you mentioned earlier, are kind of tricky to deal with because they're not flat, they're not straight, they are actually as they're shown. So,
Yeah, exactly. The all of the walls and even floors in Ori are just as bumpy as they appear to be.
as Hitachi gets the little mini ledge, as you said, that is there that you don't really see.
Yeah, and one of the consequences of these walls being bumpy is that there are ledges, there are spots where you feel like you should be jumping, but Ori's feet haven't quite touched the wall yet, so you wind up sliding down it a ways. Jumping, especially with double jump, up these walls on the way to the Genso tree is almost more of an art than a science.
Ronnie getting that faster cycle for these spinny, spiky things does get hit, so he's gonna have to kill the slime as Hitachi had to last game.
Thankfully, with Quick Flame, that's a pretty quick, fast process.
Ronnie
And-
looks like he's gonna enter the Genso tree about the same time as he did last game. However, Hitachi is gonna be a little bit more behind.
Yeah, and that's just an artifact of that death in the Sunken Glades early on. So we'll see if how much time Hitachi has managed to make up, or if he's lost ground on UncleRonny here. He
Not only
was
that, but
about
he did miss the
45
cutscene.
seconds behind.
He did miss the cutscene skip right before getting out of Moon Grotto, so that did add a bit of time.
Yeah, and a lot of these time saves are very small, 1 or 2 seconds, but they can really start to add up when you put them all together. Missing the grotto cycle, missing that cutscene skip, missing the cycle here at the swamp teleporter.
It's a much larger deficit than before for how far these runners are away from each other. I want to wager about a minute.
Yeah, looks pretty close to a minute, which is very unfortunate for Hitachi, but very good for UncleRonny, who is working on his Ginso mini-boss here, trying to pull out this 3 cycle, but just
Sign
barely
misses the
missing
last
it.
shot. Hitachi going for a different method of getting up this room than we saw last time, telehops, where if you jump into those little teleporter things on the side, they refresh your jump. So technically, if you go in and out, in and out, in and out, your jump keeps refreshing, and you can go all the way up.
Yeah, it looks like he hasn't quite practiced those as well as he has the fast gamer cycle just dashing through, but decided to go for it, give us a little bit of a show.
Considering that he has to know that he's probably behind in some capacity, though he probably isn't sure by how much, considering the very minuscule skill gap between these two runners. He might just be trying to get his nerves off of his mind.
Yeah, just going for them because they're a little bit fun, and using that to help himself calm down.
Coming up to key dupe. Now, we take the keys, and when you die at a door with the keys in the door, you get the keys again. And when you save, you keep them. Which is how we end up skipping getting keystones that we don't need to for the rest of the run.
Yeah, being able to pick an extra 3 keystones up here for
Oh
a fairly small time. Oh no, Hitachi all the way back to the mini boss. That is.
He didn't rekindle the save in
definitely
time.
not a death that he can afford.
I think what happened is that he didn't rekindle the save. Like, he didn't either. Thank you, Truck. He didn't get the save off before jumping into the spikes by the door, so instead of saving, dying, and having the door be open, he just died and went back to the mini boss instead.
Yeah, unfortunately, growing that gap between UncleRonny, who has been playing near the top of his game, and himself.
Ronnie going for his swamp entry as Hitachi is just hitting the bash tree now. This is a very large very large delta between these two runners. Oh no! Oh! Okay, Ronnie giving a bit of a scare going into that water, though it might have been the better of 2 options considering he only took 1 damage instead of 2 that he would have taken on the spikes. So with the save in front of the door, he can go for that damage boost he very much likes to do.
Yeah, I think he may have just been thinking that after spending so much time in a poison tree and, you know, an underground cave, that maybe Ori needed to take a bath.
Hitachi getting his key dupe, thank goodness. So he will not have to do that again. Does get the save, does rekindle the save, and is going to get up to the second mini-boss of the... Well, mini-boss is a bit of a strong word, but it is what it is. You have to kill it to open the door.
It's one of the longer-lived mini-bosses in this run. I think it qualifies. But I think Ronnie will be moving quickly enough here to deny us our high five as he leaves the swamp area and Hitachi heads into it, dashing along and getting ready for his Kuro cutscene skip.
What cutscene? You sure that wasn't patched out?
I'm pretty sure it wasn't patched out. I
don't
could
know.
be wrong, though.
I haven't seen it in a while.
They could have patched it out a few weeks ago. I don't think I've seen it since then.
Ronnie getting through the spikes that will instantly kill you.
And Hitachi going for his swamp entry, getting it first try, and moving on toward the stomp tree. Still on a very good pace for most runners, but probably not one he's particularly happy with.
At this point, the runners are far enough away from each other that it's going to take a very large death from Ronnie in order to even close this gap by any margin at all.
Thankfully for Hitachi, we are now in the land of large deaths. Through this valley area, there's just no energy to place any safety saves, so until Fast Stompless, we won't see Ronnie able to place any saves.
Now, as we somewhat glossed over it last time with all of the crazy going on, Fast Stompless is the trick that Ronnie is coming up to now. So, the game normally wants you to see the birds that are past where we stop, bash on them, stomp the rocks down on the bird's head. Instead, we take that spider shot, line it up at a very specific angle, bash down here, take the other spider shot to get us up to here, and normally, if you time it correctly, as Ronnie just did, you can get the cell, and that get teleported all the way down to where this cutscene would end you, which is next to the feather.
Yeah, and Ronnie pulling that off with no problems whatsoever, just like last run. Hitachi, taking a bit of damage there on that enemy. But he's fine. He's at his charge flame tree, so he'll get a nice refill on his health.
And now for the second major trick in a row, which is Sorrow Bash, which, as you said, we don't get the winds to be, well, there. Because there would be winds normally, all the way up from the bottom of the valley, but that would be slow. So instead we take a bird and we either lure or double bash over to the spikes, which, by the way, will just kill you, and go into Sorrow that way.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Forlorn Ruins area of the game, there are no skill trees there, so we don't go there very often.
Looks like at Glide, Ronnie was about 11 seconds from his personal best as well, so that is an extremely consistent track that Ronnie has capped through all the way up to getting this Sunstone, which is the key to Mount Horror.
Yeah, he'll need that to get into that final dungeon, of course, later on. And, wow, being 11 seconds off a 27-minute time, he's not likely in any sort of place where he could be going after a PB. A deficit of 11 seconds is a lot to make up at this level, but it's kind of just a good demonstration of how good at this game Ronnie is.
And as we were talking, Ronnie had did a beautiful crazy juggle.
And Hitachi did a very nice fast stompless, getting it first try this time, saving himself a little bit of time over his previous run at least.
And Ronnie is keeping that pace, even at charge jump as well, so this is going to be a very interesting run through Misty. Not liking that almost charge dash, so gonna take out the feather instead. Hitachi going for his Sorrow Bash, looks extremely clean, gets it, absolutely no problems.
Yeah, runners having a little bit of a very high speed high five there, as both were manipulating those birds to move in opposite directions. Ronnie moving through the Misty Woods now. Hitachi, oh no, dropping his frog. Deciding to go for a backup here. This is even more difficult than the juggle he was going for to begin with. But he gets it. Very nice adaptation, Hitachi.
The absolute madman! And by madman I mean I am incredibly impressed and extremely blown away by him managing to pull that completely out that he needed. So, as you said, that is a much more terrifying version of Crazy Juggle, considering that the frog is in a much lower area. You mess up even once and that frog is dead.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't surprise me if you even have to be more perfect at the Crazy Juggles if the windows are even closer in terms of, or narrower in terms of when you need to cancel those charge dashes versus the standard Crazy Juggle with the higher frog.
And Hitachi just recognizing that he needed to grab that other frog and beautifully does it. Without even hesitating, just decides, I need this other frog, and goes for it.
Yeah, Hitachi now making it to the charge jump tree UncleRonny evaporating that mini-boss at the end of Misty Woods, so he'll be on his way to the grenade tree just as soon as this last key door opens for him. And we might even get another high five from our runners as Hitachi enters and Ronny leaves Misty Woods.
And we will.
That seems like a high five that would be a little bit painful with both players charge dashing in it during it.
So if they both charge dashed at each other and tried to bash at the same time, would they just bash off of each other instead?
At that point, is it a bash so much as a hug?
I mean, both are good. Looks like the truck's letting us know that there's an over 2-minute delta at the climb tree, I believe. So at this point, it's Ronnie's race to lose.
Yeah, he'd have to have some very catastrophic level mistakes to give this one up. So he's basically got it in the bag, but of course, it's not over till it's over. He could fail door warp 20 times in a row and then soft lock in the final escape. It could happen. It probably won't, especially not with the way that Ronnie's been playing today, but it could.
Door warp can happen like that to anyone, so... Hitachi! Did he just...
Yes, he did. Hitachi going for that charge dash through the laser, using the ridiculously high speed on that laser, as we see in his replay, right there.
Oh my goodness. Hitachi just deciding to pull out all of the stops, probably knows that he's not gonna get by Ronnie unless something horrible happens, and is deciding to show off literally every potential possible ridiculous strat and just nailing them. That's Hitachi for you, everybody. Incredibly talented, and is deciding to show us that, by the way, you could do this. It's terrifyingly difficult, but he's just gonna be like, yeah, no, I got this. Casually does it in the middle of the race.
He may not be the winner of this race, but he is definitely the winner in our hearts. Ronnie getting past that wall of door warp, first try, not gonna take 20 tries at it to let Hitachi catch up. Going for his warp skip, looks like no, he did get it, okay, and chooses to exit and re-enter the door to
make sure that if something goes awry, because if that boulder in the beginning falls on you, or something goes wrong with it, that's a problem. Leaving and re-entering, I believe, fixes that from potentially being an issue. Ronnie's gonna come down to that fish, not even gonna bring his health up. Confident in it. Fish position looks good. 1 fish, 2 fish, 3, 4 damage is out. Bonks on the wall, but does not spawn the bird. Goes for the grenade jump, gets it first try, and is out.
GG, UncleRonny.
Is that a
That'll
27
be
in a race?
It's gonna be close. It's going to be very, very close. I believe it'll end up being a low 28, but I'm very willing to be proven wrong.
Nah, low 28 seems about more accurate. That is... Whoa.
Meanwhile, on the right, hitachihex working his way out of Blackroot Burrows, having picked up his grenade skill, using some rocket jumps. A little bit of a bonk, no big deal. And he'll be working his way to this teleporter and then to Mount Horu. Yeah, 28:05 from UncleRonny. I believe that's the fastest race we've had in the tournament so far.
So that would be a, about 12 seconds off of his PB. That is incredible. He stayed at about 11 seconds behind his PB since Stomp. I'm not sure where the time loss was, if it was in small increments before then, but he stayed on consistent pace since the Stomp Tree, and that's about a little over halfway through.
Yeah, and in fact, that time, a 28:05, would put him in 4th place on the overall Ori and the Blind Forest speedrun leaderboards for the All Skills category. And one of the people ahead of him would be himself.
That it would.
So that is definitely not a run that he is going to lose at any point. Hitachi getting his warp skip, working his way through these final escape rooms with some blind movement.
Hitachi now going for the fish. Fish look like they're in great positions. Damage, in, out, through, gets through, jumps over the bird spawning trigger. Huh? Okay.
May have thought that he spawned the bird there.
He did!
Oh no, he did. Oh no. Oh no.
Does get through the warm skip. Does also manage to pull the feather out just in time so he doesn't hit the lava.
Wow, he just stomp canceled that charge dash through the wall to preserve that 1 energy. That's
Oh my
that's
goodness.
properly insane.
Alright, so has his oh no! Oh no!
Is that a soft lock? Is the game completable at this point?
I'm not sure.
Looks like Hitachi is going to call it there, which would indicate to me at least that he at least thinks it's a soft lock or isn't worth going around. So, taking that victory, UncleRonny will move on to the finals to face off against Wilson. Wilson, last year's champion, so defending his title. That race will be on Sunday, the 17th of March at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Unfortunately, it sounds like UncleRonny will not be able to join us for an interview, so we won't get to hear from him. And hitachihex, understandably, is going to decline our offer to talk with us as well. So, with that, thank you, Poogle, for joining me. Thank you, of course, Ronnie and Hitachi for an excellent pair of races.
Thank you especially to our truck. We have Skullblocka and Night Fighter, and an extra special shout out to our fantastic race streamer. I believe that about covers it.
That it does. So we will see you all on this channel, Speed Gaming 2, on Sunday for the finals.